The crash course. I also refer to this sometimes as your calling card or kind of your signature piece. You'll understand why. But essentially, you need a crash course for your visitors. A crash course is basically kind of a concise piece of solid content about your market, about your business, about something important to your prospects in that market that they can get a lot of value from. For example, in our gardening example that we've been using throughout this course, a great crash course would be, kind of like a beginner's guide to successful gardening, or, some kind of step-by-step quick start guide to, gardening mastery, something along those lines where it's kind of an A to Z kind of summary piece of content that teaches something, typically like a how-to, like how to do something, because how-to pretty much has the most value of all the different content types. So you want to have this thing, I call it a crash course at times just because it's kind of just takes anyone that's even, a complete beginner for things related to you and your business and what it is that you sell, and it can bring them up to speed really, really quickly and kind of make them a medium or even advanced type of prospect with a lot of knowledge about the things that you sell, products and services. So this crash course does multiple things. The first thing is it establishes the first impression in the relationship between you and visitors. So it's got to be fantastic. This or put them on, pass them between machines, and it's kind of portable. That's why they call it I think it's called the portable document format, if I'm not mistaken. But so PDFs have way more value than articles. Between PDF and video, it's kind of, it's debatable depending on who the prospect is and what they're looking for. But the PDF has a higher perceived value. They can save it to their hard drive, and the search engines can index them, so it has all these different benefits. You want to start by compiling a FAQ for your niche, a FAQ for your market and your industry. FAQ is frequently asked questions. So do some research in your market and find out what the most frequently asked questions are when it comes to your market. You can do this by visiting discussion forums and looking at blogs in your market. And if you just poke around for long enough, you'll start to figure all these things out. You can figure this out by the content that other bloggers in that niche have blogged about, what they're kind of writing about. And when they post about how-to things, or they're posting about, solutions, or a lot of them do kind of a Q&A type of a format. And I'm going to talk about that too in a second. So do some research and figure out what the frequently asked questions are for your market. And most of that is what you want to try to compile into your crash course. So if kind of a new person comes to your site and they're new to that market and they have tons of questions, should I use fertilizer or not on my garden? If so, what kind should I use? What kind of tools should I use to till the soil? And how often should I water, the garden if it doesn't rain? And, all these common questions. Can I grow corn in Florida? So on and so forth. So that may not be a common one, but so you just want to do research and find the most common questions and use that as a foundation for creating this crash course, for creating this, kind of little how-to guide related to your market, like, so in the example case, related to gardening. And the frequently asked questions are some of the best things to answer and build your crash course around, because it's just what the market is thinking and what they want to know. You'll want to use the crash course as a bribe to get people to opt in and join your email list. You can simply do this by having a little opt-in email form on your blog over like in the far right-hand column. And you can have a little kind of graphical representation made that represents the crash course, like a little kind of virtual cover. And you can just have it above, and you can put some copy that basically just says, opt in now and get free access or instant access to the gardener's crash course, or the 2-day super course to the biggest carrots in town, or whatever. You get the point. You want to use some decent copy, give the crash course a unique title, and promise to give it to people if they opt in. Now, you can certainly give it away in other areas of the site if you wanted to, but ideally you want to try to get the most value from it. And typically that'll come from offering it as what's called an ethical bribe to get people to opt into your list. I already mentioned this. The crash course needs to be rock solid content. If there's ever going to be good content that you create, let me repeat that. If there's ever going to be good content that you create, you want it to be for this crash course. Because, again, this is going to set the first impression. If it's just awesome stuff, it's really going to affect your prospects that read it and consume it. That's going to make all the difference in the world for the rate at which they buy your products and service, or click on links on your site that may make you money, or come back and visit on a regular basis. So it needs to be absolutely rock solid. One of my dearest friends, very, very close friend of mine, great internet marketer, Jimmy D. Brown, he once said this phrase that I'll never forget. And he was talking about how to create effective content for your marketing. And he calls it, and you've probably heard this before because so many people have kind of copied it and are kind of regurgitating it, but he's the one that came up with it. Useful, but incomplete. And you kind of want to take this stance or strategy with all the content that you create within reason. And the crash course is no exception. So you want it to be rock solid, great content. But towards the end of it, you kind of want to leave it open-ended, where there are some other things that they'll need to, learn about and research to really be able to take the gardening, process or whatever the situation it is to that highest level. And then, of course, towards the end in this, kind of incomplete part, lead them to other content, or even lead them to your products that actually are a solution to kind of whatever the need is to complete the thing. So you can link to your products. Don't be too aggressive about it, but you can certainly do that then. And you can also use it to drive people reading it, like to your blog or to any videos that you've published, or to a podcast that you regularly publish. You can use it to just, lead someone down a path to take the next logical step. And sometimes that's to a page where your products and services are for sale, and sometimes it's not. But useful but incomplete. I just mentioned this. You want to lead visitors to other content or products. So as they're reading the content and they really enjoy it, don't lose that opportunity to tell them about more content you have, or to lead them to products that you sell. At the end of this report, or this course, if you're going to do a video or if it's going to be in articles, at the end, you want to give them multiple ways to stay up to date and to stay in touch with you. If you didn't use this crash course report as a bribe to get people to opt in, then you'll definitely want to list the URL where they can go and opt in and join your list. But you'll also want to promote your Twitter account. Say, hey, follow me on Twitter and keep up with some of my latest ramblings about gardening. Make it fun. Add some personality to it. You can also tell them to, become your friend on Facebook and put that in some terms of why they're on your site. Join me on Facebook, where I publish videos about gardening and, put my episodes on my weekly podcast. Whatever, you get the point. But give them multiple ways to stay in touch with you which can allow you to continue to communicate with that person rather than if they leave and they never come back.